Hi, my name is Nick Pelletier. I'm 23 years old and I'm an ultra endurance athlete and adventurer. Mainly growing up, I did all sorts of sports from baseball, football, skiing, skateboarding, all sorts of things like that. But eventually, I landed on baseball as my main sport and passion. I went to a baseball academy in high school, which taught me the work ethic and the skills and strength and conditioning needed to be successful at a high level. I ended up playing collegiate baseball, and unfortunately, due to concussion issues and post-concussion symptoms, that I just couldn't kick. I couldn't play the way I wanted to anymore, so I had to retire from the game I loved, but I still had a passion to compete burning within me. So I got into some endurance sports, triathlon specifically, so running, biking, swimming, as I had roots of all those sports and disciplines as a kid. That triathlon, I got in with a team in my local town, a competitive endurance team, which training with those guys kind of stepped me up another level, seeing such high competition, training with you every day. I got to compete at a world level and a world event in Switzerland. And then after that, my love for just endurance sports in general kind of caught on, and I did a bike ride across America. It took me 50 days. I did it completely solo, carried all my own gear, and that's where my true love of like ultra distance athletics came about. And now I do anything from long distance expeditions where it's day after day after day, or ultra events where it's all 1 day long or 2 days straight. So I'll do things like running, biking, swimming, hiking, kayaking, all sorts of stuff like that. I also like to tie in the adventure side of things, so carrying all your own gear and camping out there and doing things solo. I like to film all the things I do on my YouTube channel, and it's just a great way to involve the community. I found that bringing social impact and creating awareness for things you're passionate about is a great way to help spread awareness and create hype around what you're doing and help people at the same time. So a couple of the expeditions I've been on, I did it for charity. So I did my bike ride for Pencils of Promise, which is one that helps build schools around the world, and one was a concussion clinic I did for a swim event I did. So I'd say mainly the biggest thing, I'd say don't take your health for granted. I remember the days where I was in so much pain mentally and physically because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And now that I have the opportunity to, I'm so grateful, and I just know I don't take that for granted anymore. It's always better to tie in a social aspect to something and help somebody else with the skills that you've been gifted. I find that super important. And it really only takes one decision to say, I'm committing to this, I'm going to go ahead and start this, and you never know where it'll take you. So just making that first step, it's scary a lot of the time, but it's always worth it in my opinion. And it doesn't really have to make sense to somebody else. Like, you'll get a lot of criticisms if you're stepping outside the box. It just has to make sense in your own head. And don't be afraid to go at something solo. It may seem scary, but I find that if you go solo, you don't have bias from anybody else or external influence. So everything you arrive upon is that of yourself, which is pretty gratifying and feels pretty good in the end. And I guess the tagline or motto I live by is comfort breeds complacency. And that to me means no matter what I've done or how successful I've been in something, I'll always appreciate it and celebrate the win, but I'm never complacent where I'm at. I don't want to get stagnant. I'm always trying to strive for more. So I'll always continue to look at what's next. And what's next for me is skydiving. And eventually I'd like to tie together all three of my passions, which is athletics, adventure, and adrenaline all in one. So that would be my main expedition goal, would be to tie all three of those together. And that's what's for me for the future. So thanks for talking, and keep her not so bad. Bye now.